to the Codys Bourbon and Cola D1NZ National Drifting Championship. We return home to the spiritual birthplace of drifting in New Zealand. It's the Toll Whangarei drift circuit. The Toll Whangarei producing more drift kings than any other area in New Zealand. Let's check out some of the action. It's the D1NZ National Drifting Championship, brought to you by Codys Bourbon and Cola, Castrol Edge Oil, BP Ultimate 98 and Dodson Performance. Well, it all got underway at round one Manfield.
That's right, Brendan, and what a debut it was for Shane the Giz van Gisbergen, seen here chasing Fanga Dan Woolhouse behind the wheel of the monster Rattler Falcon. Fanga Dan would take the narrowest of wins and move on to the top four up against the Mad One. Mad Mike would at the RX-7, fresh off the trailer, qualified #1. Fanga Dan, though, was a man on a mission. This was some of the best chasing ever seen in New Zealand drifting. Finals, Kurt Whitaker, Fanga Dan, absolutely on form. Both drivers threw it in as hard as they could, and then it all ended in controversy.
Ultimately, round one bragging rights went out to Kurt Whitaker in the Auto Shore R34. Fanga Dan trying to get his car fixed, but the 5-minute rule got him disqualified at second place for him. Kurt Whitaker on the #1, Mad Mike on 3. Here's your championship points coming into round 2.
So we know who the top 3 are already, Brendan. What a debut, though, for young Ben Belcher in 4th, and Cole Armstrong in P6.
That's right, Warren. It all moves on to sunny Whangarei. Welcome to the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship from round 2, Whangarei. Now, there's something different about this course. Warren, what have we got?
Well, the difference is we're not at a racetrack. We're at a purpose-built course here at Toll. The walls are into play, the crowd are into play. You're closer than anywhere else in New Zealand. This is a jungle.
So it's going to separate the boys from the men. Who are some of the guys to look out for?
We're looking for Gaz Wider, we're looking for Fanga Dan, we're looking for Kurt Whitaker, Jason Sellers, picking a couple of dark horses to really come to the fore too. Nico Reid, and all the way from the South Island, Troy the Family Guy Forsyth.
Now, you mentioned the hometown heroes of Gaz Wider, Fanga Dan, so those are the ones that we're going to be watching for.
Whangarei is like no other province in New Zealand. It's produced more DKs than anywhere else. Jarius Whararau, Justin Rood, who you'll meet later on, the godfather of drift, Gaz Wider, Fanga Dan. Who puts on a show like these guys? And then you've got the young guns coming through, Robbie Nelson and Zak Pole really stepping up their game.
Well, I'm looking forward to the battles, Warren. Let's go trackside with Justin Rood. What a track it is, 2 years in the making, and no better person to run it through, the founder of D1NZ and the godfather of drift, Justin Rood.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Like Brendan said, we're real lucky to be here today. Toll have been gracious enough to offer us their yard to set up this custom drift track, and it's awesome. The guys are loving it. We've got concrete walls right through the outside, and a big part of what we're looking for today is the guys being real close to the walls on initiation and coming down right through the section behind us here. Also, obviously, quite some tight technical turns, which tests the driver abilities.
Let's check out a course rundown with Mad Mike Whittatt.
Okay, so lining up on the grid for a test run through the Whangarei track here at the toll yard. Right, here we go, first gear, second gear, third gear. Entry speed of probably about 100, 120 depending on where we're going to start. Initiate straight onto a wall. The first initiation is an outside clip. It's a nice radius wall, so we're going to come off that, and then it's a zone all the way through. You've got a clipping point. Then you're going to go quite deep off the corner and not take the typical race line. And the next inside clip is actually further around the corner. Coming around, and then around here past this, the big factory we have here. Well, we have an outside clipping zone there, another tight switch, and then the last corner is pretty much shut down. The finish is right on the apex of the corner, so we'll slide. No throttle. I get like halfway through and then forget to carry on talking. The track's too technical.
And so the unforgiving Toll custom concrete barriers, let's check it out.
The gas drove into the wall. That was a hard hit.
Whangarei was all about the wall. The concrete jungle claimed more than one car. Wall rides, wall slides, bash bang. This was like a demolition derby.
Riding the wall, that's what we're doing here. It's 130k entry and you're straight into a concrete wall. It's a lot of fun, a lot of adrenaline going through you, so it's a cool course.
And it's down, down to doing your line, clipping all the points and putting on a good show and trying to get as close as you can, you know, without twitching, you know, and that's what it's going to come down to in the battles.
People are telling you, come in at 100k, do this, do that. It's all good for them to say, do this and do that, but to jump in the car and actually do it and how fast you're actually going is another thing.
When you come screaming into the first section and all you see is those orange concrete walls, it's a little bit of a, gets you going and gets you excited and pumped up.
Don't necessarily look at the wall, you more have to look at the way you're going and kind of judge that you're in the right place, and if you feel you're getting too close to the wall, put your foot down and keep off it.
Oh, Willie, just not enough loud pedal there, you poor bugger.
It's good fun. I love feeling the car hit the wall. You're like, oh, there it is.
So after the morning practice session, it was all down to qualifying. The top 6 would get a bye to the top 16.
Hey, I'm Jason Sellers from Waiuku, just south of Auckland.
Jace would end up qualifying the P number 3.
Power at the moment's about 640 horse at the wheels, around there somewhere.
Turbo horsepower versus V8 torque. Who'll come out on top?
It's a Silvia S15, Jericho gearbox RB25. It's nothing fantastic, but it does the job.
Nico Reid feathering the throttle there, keeps the S15 nice and sideways with big smoke.
Hopefully go further up the table, maybe a podium, but we'll see. We're going to get our hopes up, eh?
What a job young Nico Reid did. Best ever qualifying result, comes home in position number 6.
In this car at the moment is a Mazda 3-rotor 20B, turbocharged with a GT47 turbo from Garrett's.
And if you don't know what a GT47 is, it's a turbo the size of a dinner plate.
Gearbox-wise, 6-speed sequential Hollinger out of Australia, and in the diff is a Cusco rear 2-way limited slip diff.
Danum Templeman would qualify in position number 5.
Hey guys, Andrew Redward, Achilles Radial Drifttrain. I drive the Achilles Radial FCRX7. It's got an LS2 out of a V Commodore HSV, 6 litre, all set up by Eastern Automotive. Really loving the track today. Got the new Achilles ATR Sports on there, and they're just handling it beautifully.
The 4th qualifier, Redwood, running on, of course, you know it, Achilles.
I've been waiting for this for a while, and to show people that can't afford to get to a round down the island a chance to see what we do.
So this is the second competition outing for Gaz Whiter in the Tectaloy S14 V8. Gaz is determined to make amends for Manfield.
No, it's awesome, man. I can't wait. The track's awesome. The tyres are wearing really well. The surface is good. The weather's great, and yeah, we're having some fun.
Whiter qualifies in position number 2.
I'm Fanga Dan, and this is my VZ Commodore from Whangarei.
And one man on a mission to take out the podium spot is Fanga Dan Woolhouse and the Castrol Edge Commodore.
We're just running LS2, 6 litre. It's had a little bit of compression done in the heads and a really good cam that's, you know, suitable for what we do, heaps of torque, and we've finally got a really good package now with the engine and that, built by Checkered Flag.
So reliability key, and Fanga Dan takes out first position, gets a bye in top 32, straight to top 16. So for those at home that don't know how the battles take place, you've got 32 cars. Those 32 battle out to go to 16 battles, down to 8, down to 4, and then down to the final battle. That gives you your round champion, and here's the other side of the top 32 battle. Let's have a look, let's get it underway, the highlights of top 32.
Couple of Tauranga locals going head-to-head. Cole Armstrong for V Energy, Drew Donovan for Mag and Turbo Warehouse and Alf Oils. Cole Armstrong hits the wall and loses drift. Donovan makes the pass and takes a huge advantage. Cole Armstrong would have to try and force a mistake on his chase. Got as close as he possibly can, but it was all in vain. Cole Armstrong on the trailer earlier than he would have wanted to be.
The next top 32 battle up, Troy the Family Guy Forsyth, all the way from Christchurch, and Aidan Nomit from Tauranga. The aggression of Troy definitely delivered it, constantly hitting the walls. Aidan unfortunately chucked it in too hard, spun the Altezza, that sent Troy through.
Battle of a pair of Nissans. Bruce Tannock, the Achilles Rocket Bunny S13. Bradley Lauder with the later model S14. Lauder would go through after Tannock overcooked it and looped it round.
The next battle will be the battle of the V8s, the Ford Falcon versus the Chev. In the end, it was enough for Sky Zhao and the 2 Degrees 350 going through from Shane Allen.
What a battle. one of the highest horsepower cars in the field versus one of the lowest. Willie Foster in the little AE85, the purple Corolla, would throw it in too hard, contact with the wall again. That would be all she wrote for Willie.
So just pushing it too hard coming into the first inner apex. That pushed him really wide coming around the second corner. Tried to put his foot up it, but not enough on the trailer for poor Willie Foster.
We take a look now at two of the real emerging talents of the D1NZ National Drifting Championship. Ben Belcher up front with that unique camera mount on his car, and young Robbie Nelson from Drift Corp in Whangarei overcooks it, spins it out. Ben Belcher goes through.
It's a real shame Warren, the Kobe S15 of Robbie Nelson was definitely on form all weekend. Now the next battle, a big battle, Mad Mike Wedette versus Zak Pole in the R33.
Important that we tell the crowd now too that Mad Mike only has one gear in that car.
There's a big mistake, unfortunately, from Mad Mike. Chucks the hand out the window. Coming into the corner, there goes the rear back boot of the RX-8. But look at that, Zak Pole, back door, bumper to bumper with Mad Mike.
And who else but Mad Mike would even still be in this fight with only one gear in that car? Tribute to his crew and all the hard work they put in just to get back on the track. Zak Pole, though, will go through.
Stay tuned after the break. The battles get hotter and more extreme for the top 16.
Coming up, it's the D1NZ Pro Top 16, but first, let's check in with the D1NZ Development Series top qualifier Darren Kelly, and in second, Michael Thorley.
Hey, I'm Darren Kelly. I drive the R32 Skyline with a RB30, 26 head, got a Jericho dog box in it. Qualified first today, played around mixing up different lines. Has been part of ProAm, we got asked to do a different line to the pros, so it's a little bit more shallow, and then put a bit of speed into it. Ended up getting first.
Hi, I'm Jodie Woolhouse. My car is a Toyota Supra. I'm from Toll Whangarei, New Zealand. We've got about 240 kilowatts in the wheels. It's not about the power, it's about the torque that you're running, and this car is quite torquey. I'm quite lucky in that respect.
It doesn't matter how much power you've got. You heard one of the emerging female stars of New Zealand drifting, Jodie, talk about what she's got under the hood. Let's check out the top 4 battles.
So you got some good initiation there. Darren Kelly on the lead, number 1 qualifier. Jodie just a bit too fast, bit too wide. And it's a battle of the 6 cylinders. An RB in the front and Jodie the 2JZ in the rear.
Yeah, Jodie knows she's made a mistake, though. She's handed the advantage to Darren Kelly, who's looked strong all day. They'll switch over now. Darren Kelly will chase. Jodie will take the lead. Let's see how she goes with only one gear working in the car.
That's right, the pit crew of the Magan Turbo Supra working overtime, but the chase of Darren Kelly now coming down on the back bumper there. Scrubs a bit of speed off, keeps it nice and safe. Now, if he's got too much speed, Warren, and he gets too close, he'll stack on the angle to make sure that he can still chase nice and close. An important factor of drifting.
Yeah, Kelly had to make sure he didn't get trapped into a mistake there, but he's driven nice and smart there. This is exactly what the development series is for. It teaches these guys how to battle.
So Garginson, the first time ever that he's made top 8 Pro-Am, and Matt Lauder, our round 1 winner.
Yeah, Matt Lauder definitely looking like the Pro-Am to beat so far this season. There's a couple of guys starting to show out already. Look at how smooth and consistent he is. Gagan Singh done well to make it through to the top 4. This might be one step too far.
So Matt Lauder hanging back a bit so he doesn't get tricked into a mistake from Gargan as he comes through. The inexperience there, one to watch maybe for the future, but Matt Lauder with the advantage, and that will push him through to the top battles.
Jacob Hakarai up against Michael Thorley. Thorley was the number 2 qualifier in the C33 Laurel. Hakarai in the lighter and faster S13. How would this battle play out?
Well, both drivers coming in really fast for the development series, and Michael Thorley just links around, and that's him. It's done. Big hit there for Thorley in the C33. As you can see here, just too much angle that spun him around. Not a place you want to spin with high speed.
Just watch the edge of that wheel, Dan.
So Michael Thorley and his crew would head back to the pits. They'd make repairs. Amazingly back on track after taking just 5 minutes to make the needed changes. Thorley, though, obviously got some steering damage. Loops it out. Hakarai goes through.
Great result there for the DDM Nexon S13 of Hakarai. So we go through to the final battles now. First up, we've got Darren Kelly versus Joe Kukatai.
And then Matt Lauder versus Jacob Hakarai.
So we jump in a big power R32 of Darren Kelly versus a nearly street power of Joe Kukatai. Joe Kukatai, only 17 years of age, Warren.
Yeah, Joe is still at school, so he's doing pretty well just to even be out on the track chasing his dreams drifting. Darren Kelly, though, was the number 1 qualifier. He's looked strong in battles, giving the young man a bit of a lesson here. They'll switch over now. Kelly will have the chase. You've got to think he's got to put some pressure on the young man here and see what the young guy can do.
Definitely, it's a low horsepower car versus Kelly, but Kelly doesn't hang back. He still gets in there. Bit of a slight mistake there, but he does have a 10-0 advantage from that first spin of Joe Kukatai on the first run.
Yeah, interesting there. Kukatai obviously trying to slow Kelly down to force a mistake there. Got to be very careful that the judges don't pick up on that, because they will mark you down if you seem to be brake checking.
So Darren Kelly goes through. So just a quick note on that, Warren. For those at home, brake checking, what is that?
Brake checking is effectively using your brakes to try and force your opponent to make a contact with you. Somewhat unsporting, not really in the spirit of drifting. Win it on the track, win it with your drift.
So there is a lot of technical ways that you can actually win at drifting. Because it's not first across the line, you can slow it down or you can stack on way more angle, and that's what Matt Lauder's doing right now. Big advantage to Matt Lauder because of that angle he passed through that midsection.
So Jacob Hakarai knows he's got to do something special. He throws it in as hard as he possibly can. This is the fastest Hakarai has been all weekend. Look at the gap he's managed to create. That might just give him enough of an advantage to send Lauder out of the top 4. Jacob Hakarai, is he on track for his first ever D1NZ ProAm final? Looks like he might very well be. Jacob Hakarai will go through to the final battle.
Some excellent driving there from both Pro-Am drivers. Now we move on to the battle for 3rd and 4th in the Pro-Am Development Series.
Current series leader Matt Lauder up against Joe Kukatai, the 17-year-old man from South Auckland. AK Auto Customs R32, Matt Lauder Shred Motorsport S13. Lauder in hard and aggressive. Kukatai's got to get closer than that if he really wants to threaten for the podium position. Matt Lauder looks nice and calm out there. Kukatai knows he's got to try and get onto the back of that blue machine, but he's just not able to do so. Matt Lauder stacks on the angle, crests out the section. We'll have to wait till prize giving to find out who grabs 3rd place.
So it's the first ever final for these two drivers, Darren Kelly versus Jacob Hakarai. Jacob Hakarai on the left, Kelly on the right. Let's go to Jacob.
Oh no, Darren's a pretty good driver. He was pushing in hard and he was going in deep, so hopefully I can do what I've been doing and keep up with him.
Got to make up for it after Manfield, because blew a turbo and didn't end up getting any points in Manfield, so trying to make up for it, try to get on top of the podium.
So you heard Darren say there, he's got to try and do the double. He needs as many points as he possibly can. No points on the board from round 1. Darren Kelly throws it in as hard as he can into the first corner. Hakarai nice and close on the chase.
Unfortunately, a bit of a slight correction there for Hakarai on the first corner, but he manages to gain that gap back up, chasing as hard as he can down on that high horsepower car of Darren Kelly.
You see Darren Kelly there is winding on as much angle as he possibly can, then relying on the horsepower of that big RB30 motor underneath the bonnet. Darren Kelly's got about 400 kilowatts or about 650 horsepower in old speak, and that absolutely bags the rear tyres.
So the DKM Fabrication R32 of Kelly is on the chase now, and he's showing no remorse.
Both drivers stepping right up for this, their final drive of the weekend. Look at both of them. They're not leaving anything in the tank. Whoever takes this out is going to thoroughly deserve the Toll Trophy for round 2.
That's right, Warren. Some amazing driving from these two drivers, and in the end, Darren Kelly will be on top of the podium with the DKM Fabrication R32.
I used to do a lot of work up here with my old job. First, when they built the place, the Toll United building here, and I always, come up here and do jobs, and I was like, this place would be awesome to have an event, and I think I mentioned it to Justin or Brendan, 3 years ago, and said, it'd be cool to have an event up here, I didn't think it'd ever be this big, but yeah, it's turned out pretty good.
So over 5,000 people packing the Toll Custom Race Circuit in Whangarei, and the atmosphere awesome. Lincoln, Mad Mike, son of Mad Mike, enjoying the pit walk. And the Codys girls introducing the top 16 and the drivers as they get introduced to the Whangarei locals. So the top 16 gets introduced as we see the table there. Fanga Dan, Woolhouse, Cameron Vernon first off the block. Lots of interesting battles coming up, and right down the bottom, Nico Reid versus Ben Belcher. Let's get it on.
And leading off the top 16, it's Mr. NA All Day Fanga Dan versus Cam Vernon in the skinny Mobile R32.
Oh, well, someone's got to have a crack at them, Got to have a bit of, Japanese versus dirty big V8, so it could be a bit of a laugh.
So what you heard Cam Vernon talking about there, RB turbo power underneath his bonnet, 600 plus horsepower, Fanga Dan 370 horsepower of Chevy muscle.
Now Warren, it's pretty cool to see the difference in the development series to the pros, sliding on that wall 120 k's with some of the top speeds. Cameron Vernon though, on the other hand, he's doing not too bad a job to keep up with NA all day, Fanga Dan Woolhouse.
Cam Vernon is the Pro-Am champ for a reason, Brendan. He stepped up into the main game, he's taking the fight to the top guns. Cam Vernon wants to show that he belongs.
Now one thing you may have just missed on the last corner there of the first run is Cam had a slight correction, but look at the chase from Fanga Dan and the Castrol Edge Commodore. That's what the judges want to see, nice close proximity and close to the walls, but minimal corrections.
You heard us talk about earlier, backing off, leaving a bit of a gap. That's not Fanga Dan's way. He will drive through you, he'll drive round you. Fanga Dan brings the fight each and every battle.
Nice switch there for Fanga Dan, comes on in, and that's going to be a huge advantage. Fanga Dan goes through to the top 8.
Let's check out the Castrol Edge replay. Both cars right out on that wall. Bumpers are flying. Fanga Dan Woolhouse, absolutely merciless, puts Cam Vernon on the trailer.
Next battle up of the top 16, Andrew Redward versus Bradley Lauder.
You're seeing the guys with the real low down torque, all the V8 guys, all the guys with the RB30s or, the big 6s doing really well. Everybody with the little snappy SRs with the high power bands, they're really struggling when you get down to the tighter corners on the infield.
So some interesting words there, Warren, with Andrew Redward. He's got a V8, and he's saying that the SRs, the low-powered, are struggling, and that's one car that's chasing him right now, the Bradley Lauder S14.
There's 150 to 200 horsepower difference between these two cars, but to look at it on this tight technical track, you wouldn't know it at all. It's all down to mechanical grip, it's all down to how much speed these guys can carry. Absolute talent behind each and every steering wheel in any of these cars. Andrew Redward holds an advantage.
So a huge gap on Andrew Redward's lead. We swap over now. Bradley Lauder from Rotorua on the lead.
Bradley Lauder's really struggled this weekend though. He just hasn't got out on that wall where he's needed to be, whereas Andrew Redward has dialed in maximum angle on a consistent basis. Look at Redward's switch. He's so smooth. Bradley Lauder needed to try and force a mistake. Redward's driven it in a smart manner. He's stayed close to the bumper, but not close enough that he can be tricked.
That's right, a veteran of D1NZ, Redward in the FC RX7, and that's going to be enough. Redward goes through to top 8. You can see there on the BP Ultimate replay, nice and close to the walls. Kids love it. Next battle up.
Pair of monsters. Zak Pole, RB30 underneath the bonnet. Matt Kwok, V8 twin turbo. You'll hear the unique sound out of this car as it goes around the first corner. Kwok's car smashing out 400 plus kilowatts. Look at this.
What a machine Kwok's car is though. So much development, so much engineering, slides the wall. Now it's important to note there is so much under that hood of that S13, it's ridiculous.
It almost looks like it shouldn't be there. It's just so mechanically engineered, the Milwaukee machine. Matt Kwok though was one of the drivers that really seemed to find form on this technical course.
It's a really good point, Warren. Now a lot of drivers don't like the concrete barriers, the other ones are just like, put it to the wall. Let's show the crowd a show. That's what Mac has done.
Yeah, Matt Kwok is well at home on this course, comes from a speedway background, but Zak Pole is driving out of his skin this weekend. He's been so close to that wall. He was number 7 in qualifying. He threw down, he took out Mad Mike Woodett. Look at him gliding along that wall. Zak Pole is a man on a mission this weekend, and Kwok hits the wall!
And that's it for Kwok. Unfortunately, that's a 10-0. That puts Zak Pole straight through to the top 8, but check out this replay. Just too close, overcommitted himself, scrubs it off.
Hits the wall, sucks him back in, spins it round. That'll be all she wrote for the V8 twin turbo Milwaukee monster.
Well, a sad end to the S13 of Matt Kwok from Hawke's Bay, but how far can the newcomer Zak Pole go? We're going to find out in the top 16 coming up right after the break.
We're back. Dainham Templeman, NAC Insurance RX7, Carl Reutemann, the technical perfectionist, the GT Radials S14 Nissan. Here they go, they're underway. Dainham Templeman has the lead. Templeman will initiate into the first corner. Carl Reutemann sticking right with him. Look at this onboard footage. Absolutely magnificent viewing here. Dainham Templeman laying it down, but Carl Reutemann all over the back of that NAC RX7.
That's right, Warren. These are two technical, precise drivers. Dainham comes from a huge motorsport background, and Carl always textbook. So what a run, what a chase there from Carl Reutemann. Slight advantage. Dainham Templeman is going to have to pull something off there. You can see bumper to bumper, door to door action from Reutemann in the GT Radials S14. We swap over now. Dainham Templeman on the chase.
When you sit that close to your opponent, you put all sorts of pressure on. Carl Reutemann knew exactly what he was looking for out of that run. You can see now he's looking to dial in a nice smooth line. Templeman though, into the wall, breaks his drift. That's going to hand a massive advantage to Reutemann.
Unfortunately, that's going to be enough for Reutemann to go through to the top 8. Danum Templeman gets a 10-0 there, and the GT Radials S14 goes through.
Check out this replay. Carl Reutemann right out on the wall. Danum Templeman just too hot, too far in, too deep, sucks the car in, sends it straight ahead and back on the trailer.
Next top 16 battle up, you've got Skyzal versus 3-time champion Gaz Wider. The pressure's on for the 2 Degrees driver. He's on the chase. Gaz Wider's on the lead.
For the Chevy faithful, this is an LS1 in Skyzal's car against an LS2 in Gaz Wider's car. Both cars reasonably lightly modified, about 350 horsepower each. Gaz Wider, though, definitely has the experience as a driver. Look at Wider, so smooth, so calm, cool, collected. Skyzal just can't hang with him, doesn't have enough grip. Gaz Wider maximising the performance of those Toyo tyres.
And that's an advantage to the Wider team.
Inside the cockpit at this tight track is quite busy because the track is so tight. When you transition the car real fast from lock to lock, there is quite a bit of work going on, a bit of handbrake and a lot of gas really.
So we go to the chase run now. The 3-time DK Gaz Wider will chase the 570Z of Skyzal. All sorts of pressure being applied here, Brendan. Gaz Wider does this better than just about anyone in the business.
Sky's saying exactly what's going on in those cockpits. They're busy, they're exhilarating, they're pedal down. But look at the chase of Gaz Wider. This is why he's a 3-time New Zealand champion, and it's going to be enough. Wider goes through to the top 8.
Check out the replay here. You can see just how good these guys are. He cannot see at all where he's going. Gaz Wider, the form of a champion. Speaking of champions, here's our defending DK, Kurt Whitaker.
There's definitely a lot of rubber down now. From today, yesterday to today is definitely a lot grippier. You can push it a little bit harder, but battles, changes all that up anyway.
Unfortunately for Drew Donovan, straight off the line, loss of traction causes him to have a big gap. Kurt Whitaker slides on through, wall to wall.
Kurt Whitaker's renowned amongst the field just for technical precision. He hits the same line lap after lap after lap. You can see there Drew Donovan has made a mistake. That loss of traction will be playing all sorts of games with his head. He knew he had to come up against the DK. He knew he had to do something special. He's at a real disadvantage now.
So we swap over Kurt Whitaker now on the chase. Drew Donovan on the lead. Both were nice on that first initiation clipping point. Both hit. Kurt Whitaker actually hits the second clipping point.
What a chase here coming from Kurt Whitaker. He's the New Zealand champion currently for a reason. Drew Donovan doing what he can, but the advantage was massive after the first battle. Kurt Whitaker so smooth. Look at how calm he is. Kurt Whitaker will go through into the top 8.
Great result there for Drew Donovan though, so we swap over Ben Belcher versus Nico Reid. The 6-cylinder of Nico Reid versus the rotary of Ben Belcher.
Smoke and stones, and then once you initiate, you're sweet, and just hold it hard to the floor and just go for it. Good. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, power and skill, it's quite technical, especially through the middle there. Yeah, I think the NA cars, V8 cars will be pretty mean here, down low power.
So we've heard so many comments this weekend from the drivers. The power delivery is oh so important. Ben Belcher, look at the difference in how these cars respond. Ben Belcher needs to keep a smooth line constantly. Those rotaries just don't have any torque.
Now one thing the judges are looking for, a big angle as you come through the section. Nico Reid on this particular run delivering great angle in the S15 on the lead run.
That is going to hand the advantage to Nico Reid as we go to the switchover, and you'll see that unique view from that pole-mounted cam of Belcher.
So as they come into the second clipping point, Nico Reid touches the wall. It doesn't disturb his line of drift. One important thing the judges said is if you hit that wall and it disturbs your line of drift, then you're going to be hugely marked down in your run. But Nico Reid chasing like a boss, and that's going to be enough as he comes back up on Ben Belcher, and Nico Reid will go through to top 8.
Check out the aggression here on this replay. Nico Reid right out on the wall, right out on that clipping point, maintaining proximity. That's really the key there. Nico Reid through to the top 8. As we move on to Troy, the Family Guy Forsyth, all the way from Christchurch, Jason Sellers. Both drivers renowned for laying it out on the wall, but look at the chase coming here from Troy Forsyth as Jason Sellers hits the wall. His bumpers come off the back of the car. Forsyth, though, is still on him. Jason Sellers dialing in the angle. Troy Forsyth trying to maintain his proximity. Let's jump on board now with Troy as he dials hard into that first corner. What a gap though back to Jason Sellers. Something must have gone wrong there on the line. Sellers is so far back.
But Jason Sellers still on the line. The judges want to see clips it, and he's closing the gap.
The judges can't separate them all. I think we're going to be going to a rerun.
I'm not too sure. I thought Troy had that one. I hit the wall pretty hard and thought I'd failed. But judges must have seen something we didn't. 540 horsepower at the rears, and on low boost with 450. I find I can get around there in third gear with the high boost on in second. With low boost, I have to clutch kick a lot more and stuff.
No matter what happens, hats off to Troy Forsyth and his team, travelling all the way from the South Island to Whangarei just to battle it out with the very best of New Zealand. There is no finer way to test yourself than in the D1NZ National Drifting Championship, taking the fight to Jason Sellers.
Indeed he is, Warren. He's doing an exceptional chase here. Big angle, big smoke. That is going to be a slight advantage there to Troy Forsyth as we swap over now for Jason Sellers on the chase.
Sellers knows he has the advantage. Troy's got to do something special, but look at the initiation from Troy Forsyth. He is a wild man behind the wheel. This is why people love him. This is why people come to see the show. Toll Whangarei has never seen this guy before, and he is putting all sorts of pressure on Jason Sellers.
As he pushes out to the wide last apex, they switch over, they hit one more apex, but Jason Sellers cooks it, it's done. Troy, happy as.
And he lets us know how stoked he is with a little mower out the window.
So we go to the BP98 replay, and you can see Jason Sellers coming really strong, switches too aggressively, big long car, loops the arse out, that's enough for Troy.
As we go to the top 8, Fanga Dan, Woolhouse the #1 qualifier, Andrew Redward, Gaz Whiter, Kurt Whitaker and Troy the family guy Forsyth.
Awesome to see some new names in the top 8 of New Zealand drifting, Warren, and one of those names, Zak Pole.
Up against Fanga now, this is hometown, so we'll just have to see what happens.
I'm hungry for a win, man, you know, and I'm doing everything I can.
I'm just going to give it all I got, man, like door to door, that's what it's all about.
These guys spend absolutely every last cent they've got to come drifting, and that's right, you did see a GoPro duct taped to that guy's head.
So Fanga Dan in the Castrol Edge leading, huge initiation there from Fanga Dan, but what a sweeping line by Zak Pole chasing him down.
Absolutely beautiful line there from Pole, brings the proximity nice and close to the rear of the Castrol Edge Commodore. Fanga Dan though dialing in the angle, taking maximum advantage of the torque from that Chevy LS2 motor.
Now Zak Pole doing a great job, as a lot of the drivers pointed out in this round. Turbos, you've got to keep clutch kicking, and the advantage of the V8s. Look at that, the chase from Zak Pole.
We switch over now, Zak Pole has the lead, Fanga Dan has the chase. Zak Pole looking for that same line again, out to the wall again. Oh, he hits the wall! Fanga Dan hits him!
Oh, and he spins!
Right, this is going to go back to a judge's decision. What the judges rule here as we take a look at the Castrol Edge replay. You see there, Zak Pole hits the wall. He bounces back in front of Fanga Dan. That's what causes the contact. That's what causes the spin. The win here is going to be awarded to Fanga Dan. Fanga Dan through to the top 4.
Definitely a controversial call for round 2 at Whangarei, and we're going to have more coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Codys D1NZ National Drifting Championship from Toll Whangarei. We're straight back into it. It's the top 8 battles. Battle of the Tyre brands, GT Radial versus Achilles.
No, it's been quite a few years, since we've been at it.
It's quite awesome. We haven't even battled since 2007, you know, back in the day stuff, so it'll be good to get out there with them again. Let's get it going, put on a show. No point being there if you're not in there to win.
Gives you an idea of how long some of these guys have been around for. Carl Ruderman, the 2007 New Zealand DK.
And then someone like Andrew Redward, who's a veteran. He's been there just as long, and he's hungry now for that podium.
I actually saw some footage the other day of Andrew Redward drifting back in 2004. So these guys have torched literally thousands of tyres. And you can see here how that experience pays off. Look at this run from Redward. Grabs the advantage. Carl Ruderman's got a lot of work to do.
As we go to the replay, you can see there Andrew Redward picking up bonus points for rattling that concrete wall. Carl Ruderman unfortunately scrubbing some off, so we swap over now. Carl Ruderman, both of them on the concrete wall.
Yeah, Carl Ruderman's driven a really different line all weekend. He's been quite shallow from clipping point 1 to clipping point 2. The judges haven't really been a huge fan of it, and Redward had the advantage. I don't think this is going to be enough. Andrew Redward, good proximity. Achilles radial tyres performing faultlessly. Redward sends the GT radials, man, packing.
And as we see here on the replay, that was all because of Redward's proximity to those clipping points. So we go to the next top 8 battle now. It's Gaz Whiter, 3-time champion, versus Kurt Whitaker, the defending champion.
Man, I'm stoked. I want to go against the #1 and, you know, go as hard as we can go and put on a good show. And I'm finally getting to grips with this car, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. We're not working on it. We're just throwing fuel and tyres at it, so that's what it's all about.
These would be arguably the 2 form drivers in New Zealand drifting over the past couple of years. Gaz Whiter, brand new car. Kurt Whitaker with a car he knows oh so well. Look at this lead run, but look at the chase coming from Whitaker. Oh, he cleans out the tyres here. A little bit of a mistake. That's going to hand an advantage there to Gaz Whiter.
That's a huge advantage to Whiter at the moment. Kurt Whitaker doing everything he can in the Autoshore R34 to catch up. It's not going to be enough. Whiter sitting pretty here, keeping it fun. It was a pretty interesting comment, as you can see there, the mistake as he came into the section. chucking fuel and tyres at it and just having fun. Pretty cool. So Kurt Whittaker on the lead now, Gaz Whiter on the chase.
Whittaker will know that he's got to throw in a big initiation. Gaz Whiter, though, knows no other way to chase than dialing that right onto the rear bumper. Judges ask for proximity. That's what's called proximity.
So Gaz Whiter pushes through the last section. Huge advantage here as he comes through. Last apex, Kurt Whittaker switches.
My God, they hit. There is a contact there. Gaz Whiter hits him again. Wow, this is going to be controversial. Gaz Whiter, hand out the window.
And as the commentator says on course, which is you, Warren, of course, we go to the video replay. It's a hard call. Gaz Whiter hits him on his switch as Kurt Whittaker slows down out of the section and hits him again.
So let's take a look at the BP Ultimate replay. You see them switch here. Whiter makes contact. They keep drifting. Whiter makes contact again. Is Whittaker slowing? What went on?
Last left-hander coming round, he reckons it popped out of gear, so I touched him. We carried on drifting, didn't affect anything. Switched back, and then he just stopped, and I smashed into him at the end.
And when I switched, right in front of him, he gave me a little tap, and it bumped it out of gear, and I, couldn't go anywhere, and he, managed to just, whack me real hard again and bent the whole rear end and the wheels, so we don't know how we're going to go. But
I'm protesting because I feel we won genuinely, I don't normally kick up a stink, but I feel it's wrong, so, yeah.
At the end of the day, a decision had to be made. The Motorsport New Zealand officials made it. Video footage was proven and Kurt Whittaker went through to battle on.
One of the most exciting battles of the weekend coming up. Troy Forsyth head-to-head with Nico Reid.
Oh, Troy likes it rough, so do I. We're just going to have to see him find out, eh?
Mate, I am so stoked. Cheers. Business now, mate.
Well, could we be seeing one of the new emerging rivalries in D1NZ? Two great mates off the track, but two guys who throw it all down on the track, both renowned for aggression, both renowned for throwing down as hard as they possibly can. Both touch the wall. Nico Reid has the lead, Troy Forsyth on the chase. Neither will mind about rubbing panels.
No, that's right, Warren, and look at that chase of Troy. Still holding the angle and still managing to keep that gap nice and close.
Looked a little bit like Nico Reid pulled away possibly there, but I think Troy Forsyth was stronger through the first half of the track. Let's call it advantage to Troy.
So we swap over. Troy just demolishes the clipping point sign. There goes his bumper. Both dedicated now. Nico scrubs off speed but manages to keep the gap. Close through the midsection. They switch on through for the last outer big apex.
Look at this chase from Nico Reid. All sorts of pressure being applied. He had the advantage. He's hammered it home. Nico Reid is going to the top four for the first time.
So one of the closest decisions for the judges of the weekend. Nico's family going absolutely ecstatic. And what an effort from this guy, the family guy from Christchurch. Troy Forsyth, an amazing effort and one to watch coming through the D1NZ Championship.
Yeah, crowd putting their hands together there, applauding both drivers as we go to the top four. Fanga Dan versus Andrew Redward, Kurt Whittaker versus Nico Reid.
So we're getting down to the business end of the Toll Whangarei circuit as we get the GoPros ready for the onboard action. We go to Wires man Andrew Redward in the Achilles FC to see what he's got to say.
Yeah, good, relaxed, ready to go for it. Don't hold back.
Oh, no, it's all good, man. You got to stay calm, eh? So it's on.
If Fanga Dan was any more relaxed, he'd just about be asleep at the wheel, but we know that of course he isn't. Fanga Dan is going to chuck this in with maximum aggression. He's been out on the wall all day, holding that absolutely inch-perfect line. Fanga Dan, number one, qualified for a reason. Look at this chase though coming from Andrew Redward. We saw him just appear there right on Fanga's door.
What a chase from the Achilles FC of Andrew Redward. Now this will be giving him maximum points. Huge advantage there. He chucks it away again.
Andrew Redward has developed this unfortunate habit of getting to the business end of the day and just overdriving. He seems to only do it against the top guys. As soon as he can dial that back, that guy is going to be standing on the number one step for sure.
Now we've got the chase here of Fanga Dan Woolhouse, and what a chase it is. It's a 10-0 advantage. Redward definitely delivering the goods, but it's not going to be enough, and Fanga Dan will go through to battle for first and second.
Check out this replay here on board with Andrew Redward. He really had to try and force Fanga into making an error. Couldn't do it. Fanga Dan goes to battle for 1 and 2. Let's check out the second semi-final. Is Kurt Whittaker's car damaged up against Nico Reid?
We've got a bit of damage on the rear wheel. It's going to put our alignment out massively. I don't even know how it's going to drive.
So Kurt Whitaker's got a few mechanical issues to fight with, not to mention the fact he's up against Nico Reid, who is a man on a mission. Nico Reid absolutely wants that first ever podium result. Look at him chucking that car in. The defending DK is not going to make things easy for him, but he's got a problem. Straight lines again.
A huge mistake there. Now, they did say they kept popping power steering belts off, and I've got a feeling that's what just happened. And as we go down to the pits, the official word is that Kurt Whitaker is out and Nico Reid is to his first final.
So the reason for the 0 there is, of course, that Kurt lost his drift here. You'll see it on the replay. Straightens up, goes to kick it out again, and it just doesn't go anywhere. You can see that rear wheel wobbling too. That's going to be a nightmare to drive.
Top 3, I'm guessing it's Fanga or Redwood next.
You and me, bro. It's on.
Mean. Let's get it on, brother.
Go running. Go running.
Making top 8, that's all I wanted. Sweet brother. Sweet mate.
Well, Warren, what a final it is. These guys are happy to be there. What camaraderie. Nico Reid versus Fanga Dan.
This is it. This is the grand final of the Codys D1NZ round 2 at Toll Whangarei. Fanga Dan, Woolhouse, Nico Reid into the first corner they go. Look at Fanga Dan chucking it in. Look at Nico Reid though. He is not holding back at all. Fanga Dan runs the wall. Nico Reid trying to close up onto the rear bumper. Fanga Dan working the handbrake, trying to maintain that angle. Nico Reid trying to close up. A little bit of a mistake there from the young man.
That's right. Nico Reid definitely holding his own through the first part of the section. Another slight correction there. That's going to be an advantage to Fanga Dan. Closes the gap up. We swap over. Nico Reid now in the lead. Will Fanga Dan hold back?
There will be no playing it safe from Fanga Dan. He will dial right onto the rear quarter of that Nico Reid Triple T automotive engineering vehicle. Look at this.
The Castrol Edge Commodore, door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper action. New Zealand drifting at its finest. A slight slowdown there from Nico Reid. Huge advantage here to Fanga Dan Woolhouse.
You couldn't wish for a better final. Look at this. Two of New Zealand's finest drifting talents on show. Fanga Dan Woolhouse absolutely hammering it home. He wants this victory. Nico Reid crests out the section. Fanga Dan Woolhouse.
So we go to a BP Ultimate replay here. Some synchronized, beautiful drifting of Fanga Dan Woolhouse coming through the last section. Switches on and just millimeters away from Nico Reid's bumper.
Well, what a final that was for the Pro class, but first up it's time for prize giving. In first place for ProAm, it's Mr. Darren Kelly. Second place, Jacob Hakaraya. And in third place, Mr. Matt Lauder.
And we go to the Pro prize giving in second place for the first time ever, as you heard, Nico Reid. What support from his family. Second podium, his first time ever on the podium, which means the #1 spot, Warren.
Fanga Dan Woolhouse wins in front of his home crowd. They will be getting loud, they'll be getting rowdy in Whangarei tonight. What a win for the Castrol Edge man. Looks so strong all weekend. Does the double.
I'm just so happy, you know, and that's how I'm just driving as good as I can, you know, and I'm back. Fanga's back, you know.
Fanga's back.
Yeah.
So we go to the top 10 after round 2. Fanga Dan Woolhouse jumps to the top of the leaderboard. Kurt Whitaker in second, Nico Reid to third, and Andrew Redward jumps up to fourth after finishing third at round 2. Let's go to some victory skids. Nico Reid super happy.
And don't forget, next weekend, the 19th and 20th of January, the first time ever, the D1NZ National Drifting Championship comes to Bay Park, Tauranga. If you're in the region, don't miss it. Big thanks to Codys, Bourbon and Cola, Castrol Edge Oil, BP Ultimate, and Dodson Performance. We'll see you at D1NZ.
I'm Warren Sear, he's Brendan White. See you in Tauranga.